elicitation, requirements analysis, automation of diagramming and documentation, traceability and impact assessment, automated. Traceability is one of the most difficult things to do in requirements engineering. Simulation, that's actually one of the new things we've created. In this version of Integrate, when you have defined your requirements, you can actually ask Integrate to forward engineer the user interface for you. And we produce the UI, not only so that the end user can validate the requirements, that you can validate the requirements with the end user, but the UI can also be used by a developer within their IDEs to actually build upon. So it's not a throwaway prototype, but it is something that can be reused by the developers. Of course, we have integrated with TFS in this release. We actually had an integration with TFS earlier on, but this integration with TFS is at the very core of it. We interchange data with Team Foundation Server, which is part of Visual Studio. At an API level, we automatically produce test cases that get pushed out to TFS, and we integrate with SharePoint. We used to have our own app server once upon a time. Thanks to Jamie, we actually abandoned our app server and moved to SharePoint. That was one of the best suggestions we've had from Microsoft. This partnership in working with Microsoft has been just fabulous, both here in Canada and through Redmond. We integrate with a variety of other tools, like Word, Excel, HP Quality Center for test management, but of course TFS now has test management, which is a stunning feature of the new release. And of course automation of diagramming. One aspect that I'd like to talk about is the resource manager. The idea of having information shared across multiple projects is an important idea, that not only a piece of information can be shared, but a collection can be shared across multiple projects. We certainly do that in application architecture, where we build DLLs and libraries and WAR files, depending on the technology that you use. But when it comes to requirements, we don't have that kind of a tendency. So I think it might be a good idea to start thinking about knowledge architecture. How are we going to architect the knowledge within our organizations so that we can reuse, both at an atomic level and at the collection level? And what does the collection mean, and how do we orchestrate that within the organization, both from a technology and a process perspective? Because that has to be thought through. So the idea of working with knowledge is certainly a new idea, a tremendously powerful idea, but it requires leadership and commitment to make it work within the organizations. All right, so here are some of the enhancements for 2010. We've got the Visual Studio integration. So we actually synchronize with requirements and test cases with TFS bidirectionally. Jumpstart application is a feature where, based on the requirements, we can forward engineer the user interface, a simulation. Based on the requirements, you don't have to touch a part, well, except for one, I suppose, to ask it to generate the user interface. We've added a requirements elicitation wizard. This helps define a 360-degree view scope of the project and walks you through it. We have implemented custom reporting through Word and Excel. We used to have a script previously, we still do, in C#, but now we found that the Word 2007 capabilities were really good. So we actually implemented custom reporting through Word and Excel. We have improved our user interface. We've actually changed our entire application look and feel. So our new look and feel is based on the ribbon control. And the rest of the application has also enhanced its usability. And we've got a tremendous amount of positive feedback on the UI, usability changes that we have done. We create today 3 types of test cases from requirements: functional test cases, integration test cases, and UI test cases. So we've been expanding the types of test cases we are generating. Testing can be a very difficult, time-consuming task, and often in organizations that gets sidelined. people don't write test cases properly. In integrate, if you define the requirements right, you'll automatically get all the appropriate types of test cases. So that will jumpstart your testers and reduce the level of effort you do in the grunt work of writing the test cases. Now they get a jump start to it. And they take that as input and build on it. SharePoint is an important strategy for us. And we've made that integration much better. Seamless integration between Integrate and SharePoint. One of the things I'll talk about shortly is what we're doing in the future. We're integrating with Wiki within SharePoint. So you can actually develop your requirements, publish your knowledge base as a wiki, and then collaborate using the wiki. We've added other diagram support. There's unlimited number of diagrams out there, it looks like, and so we keep adding more and more to it, and as we get feedback, we'll incorporate other diagrams. And a syntax editor. The syntax editor, this is an interesting concept. The idea of integrate is completely agnostic to any particular type of knowledge. I.e., it does not know of a particular type of knowledge except knowledge about knowledge itself. In other words, it has a meta model that it takes as input for it to know what information it will help you define. So this meta model layer is what feeds the tool in terms of what it should allow you to do, and what then should happen with that knowledge, right? So what that gives us the ability to actually model new types of information very easily. So I showed you the taxonomy that we support today. What if that taxonomy is not good enough for you? What if you've got a fancier taxonomy, a more elaborate taxonomy? You can go into the syntax editor and create your own taxonomy and integrate and support your new taxonomy. Right? In fact, Ron knows this very well. Our first implementation of integrate was not even in software development. It was in oil and gas lifecycle management, because it was built on a meta model. And that's I think that was the best part of integrate architecturally. The brilliance of integrate is that it is completely based on a meta model, and it knows nothing of requirements or anything per se except for things in general. I love the wordplay there. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so here is what we're doing. Here's our plan. We've got a team of 30 developers dedicated to enhancing integrate. It is my plan to have that team grow